I was there. I was helpful. A lot of people were helpful, lawyers and staff alike. Rose to extraordinary lengths that Bob will tell you about. But this is more than anyone Bob's story, but for his personality and relentless drive and the inability to accept no and all the good things that leaders do. We're not having this conversation. Tucker Ellis is not around.
That's why I'm sitting.
While the story is long and complicated, the full story, it's very simple, I think, in the sense that our firm is unique, and I like to think strong, because we actually implemented some remarkably simple, smart moves that every firm in the country, I believe, knows they should and would like to do, and for reasons that are beyond the time frame of this talk, they won't or can't. But for reasons I'll get into, we could and did. And what we learned in the final months of our habit caused us to think long and hard about what it was that we liked and didn't like about practicing law in the 1990s, because that was a real period of transition for the profession. For most of you, and you were 5 or 7 years old, but Bob and I were in the thick of it, and it was a different world back then. And those activities in the final months pulled together the DNA that marks our firm, and I hope continues to mark it. What finally did Arter in was its ultimately unsuccessful attempt to boost its rankings in the American Lawyer 100, which was first published in 1988. Arter, where I started work in 1972, was a happy, terrific law firm. I loved it there. Great people, great practice. But critically, at least for the Tucker Ellis story, we had no idea, a happy firm, a terrific firm, not particularly profitable. And critically, to get down to the point of this story, we had no idea how unprofitable we really were until the American Lawyer published for the first time the rankings, and we were at or near the bottom of those rankings. And it was an icicle to the heart for us. Someone said thoughtfully that comparison is the mother of discontent, and that's what created the issues that ultimately undid us. Overnight, Arter and all the other large firms, and virtually overnight, obviously not literally, but in an extraordinarily short time frame, those firms and ourselves chose to judge their worth and their prestige and their sense of self solely by the profit per partner ranking. And that is all we talked about. We big firm lawyers turn a blind eye to all the values and qualities that make the practice of law interesting and make it fun. I think, on balance, we have the best jobs in the world. I can tell from your wrinkle-free faces that most of you are just starting out. This is a fantastic way to spend your life, your career. Somebody says it's indoor work, there's no heavy lifting, and we get to spend our day with smart, motivated, high-integrity people. We get to help people every day. Who gets to do that? We do. For all the carping with our neighbors and our spouses and all the woe that we have as a profession, it is a great job. So, back now to in the late 1990s, and in our ultimately futile hope, of boosting our profits per partner, we, as they used to say, I don't hear it much anymore, decided to sort of kick ass and take names. We were going to get tough, we were going to work harder. We published everybody's statistics. We published their compensation. We put in minimum billable hour requirements for everybody. We fought over billing credit, none of which did anything for the quality of our practice, but it's what we did to try to make things better on that listing. We spoke of teamwork, but see if this rings familiar to anyone, fought over billing credit. Who actually gets that number in their column? We spoke with value to our clients, but rewarded people, those who could charge the most time. All of our energies were focused on making money. Where are those things? Okay, you can read that one. See here. Our energy, our emotional energy was tied up in making money, and making money in and of itself is not a business strategy. It doesn't inspire anybody. You're not going to be a better person on Monday because you're going to make some more money. You behave, I behave in a manner consistent with our best sense of self. If we believe we're within an organization or part of any group that is great, that is bigger than ourselves, everybody responds to that. And even better than being with an organization like that is believing that you're creating an organization like that you have a specific role, so what you're going to do to create something that is excellent. That's what we tried to do with Tucker Ellis. So the first half of 2003, Arthur was a very troubled firm with all kinds of important partners defecting right and left. We were losing people, and there's only 2 or 3 stories in business. This is one of them. Our best resources began to dribble away. And towards the end, we had some merger discussions that might have saved us. You've heard that story before with other firms that had heading down, but those collapsed. Once our merger partner took a dead, sober look at who we really were, I think they made a wise decision. We would have taken everybody down. We had a tough balance sheet, and our P&L was not what we needed. So things are getting pretty rocky. In 2003, the executive committee of Arthur Hatton gave a green light to all of the lawyers to go seek your own fortune. And it was not because they were trying to facilitate the demise, but we had working teams that were very effective with clients, and we wanted to hold those together so people just don't spin off and all of a sudden important knowledge that was unique to a client's circumstance would dissipate. So to their great credit, they say go for it. Terrific firm, unprofitable, people had great respect and affection for one another, professional relationships, but suddenly, I don't say it suddenly, but it happened pretty quickly, there was the shared sense that this isn't going to work. We can't get out of this. We've been fighting on the profit number for 3 or 4 years, and I think the loss of the merger discussion, there was a collective sigh that it's not going to happen, and you could just feel the center not holding, and we came undone. We decided we had to liquidate and go out and seek our own fortune. Now think about the collapse of other large firms, which happens a couple of times a year in this country. In every circumstance, with the exception of ours, everybody scatters. There is nothing left besides the name and a couple of articles in the New York Law Journal. People are risk averse. Lawyers are particularly risk averse. Big firm lawyers are unbelievably risk averse. That's why they join big law firms. Is that work sort of magically shows up on your desk and you get paid a lot of money. It's a great gig, but you're not there to roll the dice as an entrepreneur. You're there to practice law. And if there are signs of trouble, most big firm lawyers jump to the nearest point of safety so that their terrific lives aren't interrupted. And that's what we were facing. So we're heading down, and our best and brightest are busily pulling in offers from other firms in other cities for more money than they could have dreamt of. It was a very challenging circumstance to get the center to hold. So in the middle of all this, Bob and I had lunch in May of 2003, which I remember semi-clearly, to talk about mostly what a disaster was about to happen. But we also lightly speculated about what a huge opportunity we had. We had a number of lawyers in Cleveland, a number of lawyers on the West Coast that had outstanding, completely portable practices. But the fact is, at the time, because we were loyal partners and because we took our fiduciary duties seriously, we would never have left. We expected to be and planned on being the partners who turned out the lights. Now we have this green light from the executive committee go forward. The firm is coming undone around us. So we have a chance of doing something. And here was the once in a lifetime opportunity. We had the privilege to start over again. My late and wise father used to tell me that once in a lifetime opportunities, they come around about once a year. That's been my experience, and it's probably yours as well. But here, this was really a once in a lifetime opportunity. We could start over completely. It worked great, but to be clear and fair, we were no geniuses. The simple fact is that any business is going to get better if they get to start over. You keep your best people, you get rid of the toxic jerks, you have your best clients, you have a lease that matches your space, you sort of, it's like hit the mulligan in golf. It's always a good shot. And we had that opportunity. And that's just for the money part. And the money part was significant. But importantly, we also realized at the time that the practice of law had become a pretty unhappy way to spend our professional life. What started out for most of us as a fun career turned into a statistical grind to post numbers that would look good in a largely formula-driven compensation system. That's not how we saw ourselves as people or as lawyers. We found ourselves playing a game with rules that we hated, and we didn't want to play it, but somehow we were sort of caught up in this, because it's what everybody did. That's what all the large firms did to get their numbers up. Is you minimum hours, and you value people by the hours that they charge, you scramble for billing credit, you publish everybody's compensation, you publish everybody's hours as a source of pride or shame month to month, and you wound up dreading going to the office on Monday morning because of this, in hindsight, toxic environment that we signed up for. And to the point, and it's not as if we were nuts, by the way. Every consultant would come in and say the same thing. Here's what you did. Publish this stuff, you work off shame and fear and pride, and we said, well, what do we know? Sure, we'll do that too. In hindsight, it was actively nuts. And it's the reason then, and maybe today, although I've kind of lost touch with it, what else is going on out there, that most quality lawyers enjoy being a quality lawyer, but a lot of them aren't really happy with their firms or their work environment because of all these things that the firm, without really thinking about it, is imposed upon how they practice. And all of a sudden, what was happy becomes a job. It's not a career, it's not a call. So, we also began to realize that all of those things I just cataloged had really not a lot to do with practice of law. They were self-imposed. We signed up for it. It's not like it's embedded in practicing lawyer. You need to do these things. So we thought, let's have a firm that didn't do the things that we hated. And let's see what that would be like. Let's just rid ourselves of the poison in our lives. And I think that works professionally, works in your personal life. Stop doing things you hate. You know what they are. You do it all the time. Don't have a second martini. I mean, it's just, you know where it's going. So, it's July of 2003. I'm going to turn the corner for you, friend. And we have these great practices, great affection for one another, but no cash, no accounts receivable, no unbilled time, no equipment, nothing. We just have this good idea and a whole room full of goodwill. And everybody, our top people, our best and brightest, are cutting deals to go elsewhere. We just sort of feel it coming undone. And we were genuinely frightened. Not simply nervous. We were frightened. I was. Because holy smokes, I joined a large firm. At the time, a year earlier, we were 450 lawyers. What could be more stable than that? And it's coming undone. So Bob called a meeting of the partners where 3 or 4 of us laid out a vision of what we could do and asked them, and Bob will say what he said, but the ask there was simply a commitment to give us time to see if we can cobble something together. Don't accept that offer just yet. Give us some resources to work with, and we'll come to you with something we think it works, and you'll decide if it's your interest or not. But we're not asking for weeks or months, we're asking for days, given the things that were in the pipeline that had to be completed to make this work. We had the same meeting with associates and the staff, and you could literally hear a pin drop. Not a problem, as these people were learning that there's wonderful, secure lives, that a wonderful, secure firm was coming undone. It was an extraordinarily dark topic, and they were terrified. And this slide here, I think, speaks to the topic of surviving hurricanes. Because for all the plans that we crafted and the plans that Bob described eloquently, we really didn't know if this was actually going to work. We had no idea if we thought about it clearly enough or anticipated enough of the rails that you come off of that it would work. But Bob, in telling the story, was resolute, which is what you need in times of maybe after the hurricane blows through. You want, speaking of my childhood now, you want Dad to come home at night and say, we're fine. We've got this. We're going to be fine. And it's not that he comes home and says it on Monday night. He says it every night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 2 or 3 times. And Bob has an eerie capacity to, and it sounds like a negative, but I mean it as a positive, like a great politician, to give the same speech with the same passion as he did 350 versions ago. Office to office, closed door, we're going to be fine. We can do this, you're going to be great, this is going to be fun. week after week, and again, I don't want to steal Bob's story about what we actually did, but it was his capacity, in my judgment, to be fearless, to be absolutely confident that this is going to be fine. Maybe lingering in the back of all of our minds, maybe not, but never showing. Because people are frightened. People are looking for a stake in the ground. I've got the ball. We're going to be fine. Follow me. This will be great. Either we were right or we got lucky. It turns out in hindsight, we were more right than not. But it was an extraordinarily gratifying experience. So, it's not lost on us that what we've created is not the natural order of things, certainly not for law firms. I think most law firms, larger law firms, kind of are the natural order of things. It's sort of a default to publishing hours, working by the hour, rewarding number of hours that you charge, and our task as sort of senior people at Tucker Ellis is to be vigilant and to watch the signs of creeping back to the norm, because we have been there. And the norm is not a happy place. You can practice great law, but you wind up having a relationship with your partners that is nowhere near as satisfying as I believe we have right now. And with that, let me turn this over to my friend and partner Bob to say what we actually did in July of that summer.
So I've sat there and listened to that a number of times, and every time I hear it, Steve gives me more credit than I do. It's a little uncomfortable. 16 and a half years ago, when Harvard hadn't closed its doors, I was a 53-year-old tort lawyer. That's all I was. Traveling around the country defending personal injury lawsuits for Johnson & Johnson. I had no aspiration to start a law firm. I had no aspiration to manage a law firm, and I today can't believe that my name is on a law firm in Cleveland and Columbus and Chicago and St. Louis and LA and San Francisco. Absolutely never intended to have that happen. I love my practice. I really enjoyed being a lawyer. My practice was completely fulfilling. It was fun. And starting at Arrowhead in 1976 and being a trial lawyer was something I really wanted to do, and I enjoyed doing it. But the business of law, as Steve described, was really, really getting dirty. Being judged by the number of hours you bill, being judged by the person sitting next door to you or across the country from you based upon your hourly rate is a value judgment on the quality of your practice. It's not a rewarding way to have a professional life. That's what it was like for all of us trial lawyers that already had at that point in time. So, when the time came that Carter hadn't closed its doors, all of our Cleveland partners and those in San Francisco and LA who had a tie to Cleveland had to kind of take stock of what was important to them in their professional life. And what we discovered was that what was important to us wasn't the money. It was, for some it was, and they had wandered off, or they had left. What was important to us was the relationships we had with one another, with our staff, with the lawyers that we had worked with that ever had with all those years since the mid-70s, with our clients with whom we had relationships that went back many, many years. Those relationships were what were important to us in practice of law, and it's what sustained us. And so, as we had that meeting with the partners and the staff, I talked to the partners about, what do you want to do? You want to wander off and start your life again? You want to take one of those offers in Chicago or somewhere else, some other firm in Cleveland? Or do you want your life, your professional life, to be defined by the theory of Arrowhead? Or do you want to try to do something that's really cool? You want to try to start a law firm where we get rid of everything that we hate doing and see if we can't put in place a culture where we all appreciate each other and what we're doing. That kind of became the mantra. We want to have the professional life defined by the theory of Arrowhead. And the fact of the matter was, people sitting around that room did take stock of their lives and decided that they didn't want their professional life to be defined by the theory of Arrowhead. They were willing, if we could get financing in place, to start a new firm. So Steve and I wandered around one of the banks in Cleveland. I wish our prior speaker had been here. We went to a number of banks. They all looked at our projections of what might happen if they lent us money. Every bank in Cleveland kind of said, it's a nice story, we'd like to help you, but we can't help you until we got to KeyBank. KeyBank looked at us, and the loan officer there said, you know what? then you got something here. You can keep your partners in place and the relationships you have with an A-plus list of clients: Johnson & Johnson, United Technologies, Cleveland Clinic, University Hospital, Pfizer, GlaxoSmithKline, all H A-plus clients. If you keep your lawyers in place and your clients in place, we'll lend you $7.5 million. But every lawyer that's going to be a partner in the firm has to sign a cognitive note for $7.5 million. So we went back to the firm. I talked to my partners and I said, okay, everybody's taking stock and you like these relationships. If you want to do something really cool, you got to sign this cognitive note. And to my surprise, all 35 people signed that cognitive note. Some of them, I'm pretty sure, didn't even read it. They know you don't sign it. But what's interesting, when I fast forward, paid that cognitive note off, $7.5 million, within a year later. We all gathered at the Shaker Heights Country Club, and I had all 35 partners come up, and I handed back to them the cognitive notes, stamped, paid in full. What was interesting to me was a lot of the spouses of those partners said, what are you talking about? You signed a cognitive note for $7.5 million, and tell me about it? Well, what was the fact of that? They did. So I know I had the partners in place. Staff, we had to keep our staff in place because we quickly realized as lawyers, we didn't know how to do a goddamn thing. How do you order letterhead? How do you set up an email system? How do you get the stamp machine in the mailroom to work? Lawyers don't know how to do that. And for the first time, the staff, as they realized what they were going to be asked to do, felt appreciated. They were never appreciated at this big firm. They were just staff. People didn't know their name. Well, all of a sudden, Steve and I knew every staff person's name and everything because they were important to us in terms of being able to put the firm together. Associates, we had to convince them to stay on board. Once we got the loan, it was pretty easy. They now knew that they were going to get their salary. We needed them to also buy into the new culture that we were going to put in place. So I had this meeting with all the associates, and one of the things that I said early on in the meeting was no more billable hours. Whatever happened was the $1,950 hours a year billable requirement. And I explained to the associates, we're not going to do that anymore. We are not going to judge the quality of your lawyering by the number of hours you bill. The number of hours you bill is not a surrogate for excellent lawyering. I thought the associates would be thrilled by that. Because I had seen 1,952 hours, 1,955 hours, billable hours lists, because they, of course, the firm shared all the hours. You'd see that all the associates, and partners, by the way, were just exceeding the number of hours required under the billable hour requirement. So I thought the associates would be thrilled. No more billable hour requirements. It's just the opposite. Showing how naive I was stepping into this leading role in this firm. The question that got asked of me at the time was, how are we to know if we are meeting your expectation if we're not meeting the billable hour requirement? And I hadn't really ever thought about that. The answer was, then and today, my expectation as a managing partner or as a partner in this firm isn't how many hours you bill. It's that you are an A-plus lawyer. The number of hours you bill is not an appropriate surrogate for A-plus lawyering. Sometimes A-plus lawyering requires many more than 1,950 hours. Many times you can achieve excellent lawyering at less than that. But that's what we want to put in place. A culture where people are not judged by metrics that do not correlate necessarily to the excellent lawyering that we expect to have in the firm. So that was important. So internally, we had to get everybody on board. We had the partners in place. The staff were ecstatic. They were actually being asked to do things that they enjoyed doing and they were appreciated for doing it. We had our associates in place. We were beginning to put into place all the things you have to do. We had to put in health care and computers and insurance and all of those kinds of things. And that was basically a function that the lawyers in the firm were doing. I just kind of was orchestrating all this. The other lawyers and the partners and the associates were doing it. Then we had to introduce ourselves to the legal community. And this was our statement. We're faced with difficult decisions. The simplest and safest path is to accept one of the many opportunities to start again. Each of us at Tucker Ellis had that choice. None of us took it. We were unwilling to walk away from the long-standing relationship we have enjoyed during our professional lives. Commitment to our clients and to each other is the reason we were formed. This is a new firm comprised of people with shared values and desire to stand by them. We look forward to being with us. Money was not the motivation for setting up this new firm. It was the fact that we wanted to build a culture of enduring relationships, not with only each other, but with our clients and with our communities. This was our web page on July 16th when we started the firm. By the way, we had 2 weeks to put this together. That's literally how long we had to put this together to introduce ourselves.
And let me just add to the color here that while all this is being organized behind the curtain, Arter's banks, and there was significant debt on the books, were beating on us under threat of foreclosing on the furniture, all of the phone systems, the electronics. So we have this in parallel, keeping people revved up and excited about this bright future. And we've got I won't say bad guys, but people who are looking for their money from us, but we didn't know a dime, on all of the assets that might be useful to us. And the drama was the way our brains work is falling into the distant and all seemed sort of positive and happy and sort of a warm glow about it, but it was extraordinarily stressful.
So as a result of a watershed which was neither anticipated nor desired, a remarkable event has occurred. The formation of a full-service Cleveland-based law firm with offices in Los Angeles and San Francisco supporting a litigation, insurance, and intellectual property practice. Tucker Ellis and West left a number of years ago to join a firm in London. It was a firm of which 90 lawyers and 25 paralegals with supporting staff has taken stock of their professional lives and chosen to commit themselves to building a new law firm. Why? One overriding reason: to maintain and service the professional relationships, for many of us dating back more than a quarter of a century, which all of us have determined are important to how we measure the success of our professional lives. The success of our professional lives. That's the culture we wanted to put in place. People appreciating the relationships that were very satisfying to all of us in terms of our professional lives, not just with the lawyers in the firm, but with our client relationships. So we began to introduce ourselves to the client community that we wanted to represent. I told you that we were not judging people by the number of hours they billed. What if authors were paid by the hour? Our law firm rewards our lawyers for accomplishments, not billable hours. The result is a focus on accomplishing your objectives, not merely billing time. It's a pretty good business, I guess. You get to bill, you get paid the number of hours you work on something. We all are frustrated when our plumbers come to our house and we know we're being paid by the hour and they want to chit-chat while they're fixing something. We know that that's all going to show up on the bill. Clients of lawyers feel the same way. We put in place a system of accomplishing client objectives which is not necessarily based on the billable hour in terms of fixed fee relationships. This was another one. Imagine if composers were paid by the note. We told our clients, in fact, if you believe our fee exceeds what we have earned, pay us what you think is fair for the service that we provide. You will enjoy working with us, we promise. This was about developing relationships with clients. It wasn't just about making money. We believed that if we developed a relationship with clients, if we mentored our young lawyers, in fact, all of our lawyers, our partners included, on developing relationships, putting in place a culture where relationships mattered more than money, more than billable hours. That would bring clients to us, and it's proved to be true over the last 16.5 years. We sent out this to our clients, showing what we were on day one, 90 attorneys, first anniversary, 104. They just 2007 we were 125 attorneys, showing that we had blossomed into a more fulfilled and rounded trade. Original of this said, good lawyers, good clients, good results. This actually showed that one of our clients sent back to us, crossed out good and wrote great. And it became the marketing piece that we used. Because this is how we were developing relationships with clients. So, what does this have to do with leadership and what you're considering? I know you're dealing with how do you deal with a hurricane, but this is really all about leadership. The question is, as Steve said on the slide, money is not an objective that's going to compel people to follow you. What compels people to follow you are the importance in their lives. And that's relationships. That's a sense of culture, a sense of being appreciated for what they're contributing. Whether you're appreciating a staff person, whether you're appreciating the associates who work with you, or whether you appreciate partners that you're working with, appreciating your client relationships and how important they are to you. All of that is important in terms of leadership, and that's really the lesson that I would leave you with after spending half an hour. Any questions? Sure.
Did your client get a discount on legal services for providing you?
Yes, indeed.
Have you noticed any challenges in keeping up with your culture, like when you bring in new management or anything like that? Do you guys have anything in place to make sure that they are in line with your culture?
That's a really, really good question, because keeping up the culture is something that you have to be committed to every single day. You need to have every person committed to it. Part of the way that you achieve that is that we are not a particularly attractive firm to somebody who is concerned about making a lot of money. We have a close compensation system. One person in our firm decides the compensation for every single person in the firm. A lot of lawyers with big books of business who might be interested in moving to a new firm for a big buck won't consider us, because that's not something that they can be guaranteed. There's no statistical determination as to how much they're going to be paid. And as a result, they don't know how much they're going to be paid until they perform. So what happens in a system like we have, lawyers tend to self-select them out. They don't fit our culture. We don't have statistics where you have billing credit columns. So someone comes in and says, I have this client relationship, I'm responsible for this number of dollars because of that client relationship. We don't share those kinds of numbers. We don't calculate billing credit numbers that way. It's all a shared responsibility.
That's probably the largest impediment to recruiting, is that folks that have, to Bob's point, have a very large book of business like the idea of a statistically driven system. And there's this mythology that you hear from folks like this, that the numbers don't lie, which of course they do. As some wag said, that numbers are like political prisoners. You beat them hard enough, they'll say anything. And lawyers get really good at jocking the numbers and say, well, look at this. And I don't want this individual assessing me subjectively on my overall contribution to the common good. I got these numbers, I want to get paid for this. And these are terrific lawyers and terrific people, but they're not particularly excited about being part of an organization that might be larger than they are.
2008, 5 years after we got started, I stepped aside from being managing partner and went back to the practice of law. And the reason I did was because I was not the guy to build this firm for the next generation. I was towards the end of my practice, the end of my professional life, and I was not the guy to consider those questions as to the future. So we transitioned the leadership of the firm to a young partner at that point who was in his 40s.
Yeah, it's like 42, 43.
42, 43. He actually is now to a point where succession planning is beginning to be thought, because he's now in his late 50s. What I believe our culture focuses on succession planning is somebody that we all agree fits the culture that's in place, which is appreciating relationships. Actually not someone who aspires to then have a leadership position,
let me just backfill a little bit. I have my views on culture, and I am sort of jaded about, and this is well written and happens, I believe it to be true, but it's real easy to crank on mission statements. And having been on the receiving end of these, or vision statements, all the stuff that people go through, most folks, it's kind of an eye roll, it's good words. People take their cues from how their leaders behave, not what they say. And they get their cues every single day, and it becomes sort of a generational flywheel that there is just a way that you behave around here. And at least as I'm speaking, I think we've done that. It is a constant challenge to make sure the next generation, you sort of watch them as younger people, that they're exhibiting, they're behaving the same way, how they interact with people. And with enough younger people watching how successful older people behave, they will adopt those behaviors, and culture becomes creative.
And we have quite a number of lateral partners who come from large firms, who walked away from those large firms to come to us because of exactly the culture that we had and what they were missing at their larger firms. Walked away from much bigger paychecks than they earned at Tucker Ellis in order to benefit from the professional culture that we were trying to instill in them. That's an important part of the next generation. So you can see it, you see the firm attracting those kinds of people. Right here. Anything else? Now we're running over.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you very much.